that's what I'm going to try and do. So Lounges TV, which is an incredible streaming platform for content creators, and are going to go on to big things. And Lounges have got together with me, and they've persuaded me to do a podcast, which is going to be, it's going to be a lot of fun. So the Voice of Boxing podcast, which has got our own Instagram page and YouTube channel. So with Lounges we can hopefully go from strength to strength. We've had a bit of a soft launch. We've had the likes of Dave Colwell, Hannah Rankin and Tycee Gallagher have been on. Mitchell Smith's been on. Michael King, Your Highness, and his monkey came on. That was good fun. Don Charles came on as well, on his way back from Saudi after the big win over Hrgovic. So looking to get out and about. We were at Wembley yesterday, and bring a lot of news and a lot of different faces from around the boxing world. Some of the big names, some of the unsung heroes, and the YouTube stars, and everybody that's associated with our fine sport. So it's going to be an exciting ride. I can't wait to get going.
I'm sure your lengthy contacts book will mean some fantastic guests on that podcast. Adam, we're in Coventry. Danny Quartermain, someone you know very well. I've followed his career as he's local. He looked brilliant last time out on GBM show against Alex Rat. Surprisingly, as I said to Izzy Asif, he said on stage he wanted to actually show more of his boxing ability. I thought he was fantastic last time out. Danny obviously thinks he can box better. How good do you think he's going to be on Saturday night?
Well, Danny's unbeaten in 11. He's progressing really nicely. He's building up a legion of fans from both Coventry and Leamington. I used to live in Leamington Spa, so there's a little connection there. Danny and I share a few stories, and I like him. He's got a lot of potential. He's a good-looking guy. He talks well, and he can fight. So there's some good ingredients to have, and he's got a great new platform in GBM. I say new because we are really still in embryonic stages, and the train is rolling fast. We've got this great deal with DAZN now. We've been on TalkSport YouTube, so people are getting to know what we can do. The production team have been fantastic, putting some great shows together, and some fantastic fights. Great guy, Al Siesta on board, who's done really well this week in a difficult week. And boxing's hard, with people pulling out left, right, and centre, and having to to pull in people from around Europe. Al's done really well. Izzy, of course, is just infectious to be around. He's always thinks he's born to be a promoter, respecting all the guys, the Eddies, the Franks, the Bens, but we're doing our own thing, GBM, and we've got this opportunity with DAZN now, a multi-fight deal, and Danny Quartermain's got his chance, and so too is Niall Berry, who I'm really impressed with. I really like watching Niall. I think he's a very good fighter. I think he reminds me of a Paul Ingle, who was a really good fighter back in the day with his energy. His work rate, and also he's very clever, fights like an American fighter on the inside. So I think both Niall and Danny, they're both in tough fights, but they've got an opportunity to shine on this bill. But so too the Irish duo of Kieran Malloy and Tiernan Bradley, who I'm pretty hot on. I think they both can go on to do big things in this sport. I think Izzy signed some really good fighters. Arlo Stevens is on, the big heavyweight as well. Good to have a heavyweight on the card. Tyler River Bent as well. River Wilson Bent. Tyler, getting them all confused. River Wilson Bent as well. It's fantastic having River on the card. He's a stalwart of the area too. He's been in some good fights with Tyler Denny and Hamza Shiraz, and it's great having River on. New father as well. Got more motivation. He's got a good fight. So some great fights lined up for Coventry on Saturday night. Takes you back to the days of Dean Pithy, Richie Everett and Neil Simpson. So you're too young to remember those. But it was a good scene back in the day in Coventry, and hopefully we can make it a great scene again. It's buzzing here.
Two of those names you mentioned, Kieran Malloy. Kieran Malloy. You speak very highly of him. How far do you think he can go?
I think Kieran Malloy will become a world champion. That's how highly I rate Kieran. I think he had a really difficult test last time out. He had a guy in front of him who would not stop, and that was a really hard fight. I think what was his 8th or 9th fight. I thought, wow, that was tough. And he went down and he got up, and a lot of people were saying, oh, has he got it? But this is nothing, right? Ryan Rhodes went down twice in the opening 2-3 rounds of his debut. Johnny Nelson lost his first 3 professional fights. Bernard Hopkins lost his pro debut. Now give these guys a break, right? fighting's tough, and what I saw from Kieran that night impressed me. He got up, he finished the two. I think he's going to take it step by step. I think you're going to see a dramatic performance from Kieran Malloy on Saturday night. He wants to get us back to Galway. He's got a lot of fans there, and he's supported by Tiernan Bradley too, who's a different guy. He's a different character, different personality, different style of fighting. Tiernan's taken time to get settled into the sport, but now he's found a home down on the south coast with Ben down there and Scott. I think he'll really start to impress. So there's two guys who I think could go all the way. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with them, especially Tiernan. But yeah, Kieran Malloy for me will become a world champion.
And then away from the show, you obviously say you was down at Wembley. The big news: AJ Daniel Dubois. Some people are saying it's going to be an easy night's work for AJ. Dubois got hit far too easily and too many times by Filip Hrgović. Do you feel it's a lot closer of a fight, or do you feel this could be a night where AJ is back?
Was it an easy night when Anthony Joshua fought Andy Ruiz in the Garden? I don't think so. Was it an easy night when AJ fought Usyk twice? People are writing off Daniel Dubois, who's 26 years of age. He went in and he just upset Filip Hrgović. He went in and showed his guts against Jarrell Miller. He almost beat Alexander Usyk. I mean, come on, wake up here. Could it be an easy fight? Any fight in the heavyweight division could be easy if you hit someone. AJ could knock him out in a round. Daniel Dubois could knock AJ out in a round or two. You never know what's going to happen. What I do know is that there's a lot of power in that ring. I was fortunate enough to see the pair of them spar back in the day with Team GB in Sheffield. And I tell you what, Daniel Dubois gave AJ everything he could handle. And if that sort of form, that sort of spar is recreated at Wembley on September the 21st, we are in for a treat. Because I think that could be a fantastic battle. If the two get settled, if Daniel isn't overwhelmed with the occasion, because Anthony's got the experience of fighting on the big stage at Wembley, but if Don Charles is with him, which he will be, psychologically helping him, he's grown in confidence, he's still a young guy, Daniel Dubois, and if he can stick in there for the first 2 or 3 rounds, he can give Anthony Joshua a real ride for his money. Is AJ favourite? Of course he is. Do I expect AJ to win? Probably. Do I expect Anthony Joshua to have an easy night? Not one bit. Write Daniel Dubois off at your peril. He's the IBF heavyweight champion now, right? Did we think he'd beat Hrgović? Honestly? Did we think he'd be tough like against Jarrell Miller? Did we think he'd have a real chance against Alexander Usyk? People have written Daniel Dubois off a lot. I'm not writing him off. I know Don Charles and I know Daniel Dubois, and I know they're coming to win and they're going to come and shock the world. Do I think it will happen? I'm not sure. I think AJ is reinvigorated around Ben Davison. I think they're a brilliant team. They're a great double act. He's executed the game plan perfectly against Otto Wallin. He's destroyed Francis Ngannou. This is a different step. If he destroys Daniel Dubois, then maybe he could get that dream fight against the winner of Fury and Usyk to become undisputed. But if he becomes 3-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua and joins the likes of Muhammad Ali and Lennox Lewis, please, people, take your hats off to AJ, stop criticising him, and stop criticising Daniel Dubois. These fighters don't need that, right? They're the best. Let them fight. Let's enjoy it. It's a hell of a card. It's probably the best show, top to bottom, I've seen in a long, long time, maybe ever in Britain. Every one of those other fights could headline domestic shows. Take your hat off to Turkey and to George and Eddie and Spencer Brown and everybody that's made that happen, because the fighters are being rewarded. Tyler Denny, the fairy tale story. These are great opportunities. Anthony Kakache has a great win in Saudi, and look, he's now almost a centre of attraction. Hamza Shiraz, look where he was. He was fighting at Heathrow Airport a few years ago. People don't remember, right? These guys are getting their opportunities. They're getting financially rewarded, and the fans are getting the best fights. Let's leave it now. The criticism, is Dubois, should he be in the ring? He's the IBF heavyweight champion. He beat an undefeated fighter in Filip Hrgović. Give him some credit. And Anthony Joshua is doing brilliantly with Ben Davison now. It's a great matchup. It's Battle of Britain. And I'm not even the promoter. I'm not even selling it.
Like you should
I'm
be.
just a fan, okay? It's a great fight. And I'm telling you, if it's anything like the spar that I saw in Sheffield, we're in for a treat.
Adam Smith, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to yourself.